hello, my name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I'm a husband of a scientist. It is Friday, August 8th at 6:18 p.m. Central, and I'm here to answer your questions about my job and how I got here and being an airline pilot, traveling with kids, or even electric cars. As we get started, a little bit about myself. I've been flying now as an airline pilot for 17 years. I've been flying totally, I think, for 19 years. 18, 19 years. Yeah. Started flying in 2006, airline pilot in 2007, and I've been here 10 years. No, here 7 years, and my previous airline for 10 years. So that is about me. I am 48 years old, husband and father of two kids. Woo! And now it started on my iPad, on my laptop, so I know how much of a delay we have. I go live randomly. So if you want to know when I go live, the best way to do it is subscribe and click the notification bell. I know it's annoying to click the bell, but that's the only way I know how to let you know when I go live, because it truly is random. It typically is between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Standard, or Central Time in the United States. Howdy, Mr. Carlos Sarvia. Hope your flying is doing well. Mr. Orion, Mr. Rumsey, of course. Goose Aviation, what's up, my friend, on a 16-hour layover in Bakersfield? Haven't been to Bakersfield. They started flying there at my regional after I left. Heard it has a short runway. Something weird about that airport there. Howdy, Aviation. I was in LAX the same day as you. Oh, it's a bummer you didn't see me. Again, I would love to be able to post when and where I fly, because I used to, right? If you're a longtime follower of mine, when I was on TikTok, I used to post my flights as I did them. But then another creator had an issue where some follower called in a threat to his flight, and I'm like, you know what? There it is. There it is. So, no thank you. Watching on a flight from Chicago to Dallas. I haven't been to Chicago in a long time. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. Howdy, Mr. Rolo. And you got the notification. Awesome. How about 100 hours? And I'm so excited. Awesome, dude. Aloha from southern Utah. I've only been to Utah once. That's a lie. I was on vacation in Utah about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It has a giant space threshold on it. Yes, that is what the issue is with Bakersfield. From like when because we got like warnings about flying in there. I got the warning also on the Airbus. I guess I flew there in the Airbus maybe, also. But anyways, so it is a month of August. I've already flown one trip. It was to Venice, Italy, and it was the video will be up in about 3 weeks. But this trip was unique in that I picked it up the day before. It's a very senior trip. And the trip I picked up was the last flight to Venice on the 777. Because from here on out, for the next, I guess, the season, it'll be a 787. And it was a very senior crew. And it was the captain's retirement flight. I had never flown on a retirement flight before. And I knew something was up when I walked on the airplane. I was the last to arrive. And I walked on and I saw a giant bag of cupcakes right there. I'm like, cupcakes? It is not normal to have cupcakes on the airplane. Plus, they had lots of people walking around, like extra manager people walking around. And sure enough, it was the captain's last flight. He had his wife on board. He got her if it's your last flight at the airline, I believe the airline will put your spouse on the airplane for free. And then she upgraded to first class. And then they stayed in Venice, Italy for like 10 days. Pretty neat. Unfortunately, he didn't get his water cannon salute, because they'll do a water cannon salute on the outbound flight because he's not flying back in. Like his last flight at the airline was Dallas to Venice. And they wanted a water cannon salute, but the fire department had too many of the trucks down for service, so he got no water cannon salute. Which is a bummer, right? You do your whole career and you see all these water cannon salutes and then you don't get one. What's the most interesting job before transitioning to commercial pilot? Another pilot has shared. Oh, I don't know. I've met people from all walks of life. Most people that are pilots do come from either straight from the military or from a aviation background, though. Hey, from OBAP, how are you doing? I missed OBAP this year. Doing very well. Howdy, Crisp. So I wonder if you're based at JFK, are you also allowed to bid for flights at LaGuardia and vice versa? Ryan Mohammed, it depends on the airline. Where I work, Yes. In fact, you are based at where I work. You're based actually at LaGuardia, and you cover all three airports: LaGuardia, Newark, and JFK. Now, on the wide body, it is only at JFK. They could have a wide body flight at Newark if they wanted to, or at LaGuardia. That'd be kind of weird. But on the narrow body, you are responsible to cover all three airports. Now, they do give you a parking pass for all three airports. But here's the issue: if you're a commuter, so if you commute to New York, you might be only be able to commute to LaGuardia direct, right? You have to find your own way at your expense to go from LaGuardia to JFK or from LaGuardia over to Newark. It can get very expensive. I think even if you live up there and you're driving around, it can be very expensive. RP gym level, yes, sir. Darren, got my first class medical in a couple of weeks. Starting the initial steps of my training. What's one thing you do differently now in regards to training in hindsight? Wowza. I would ask lots of questions, and I would join professional organizations even at 0 hours like OBAP, and I would go to every single conference I could. Even at 0 hours, 10 hours, a private pilot, every single conference you can, even if it's just for one day. Hey, Darren, what is braking action? Heard that term on a ATC video. Hey, Zay Lassie. Braking action is actually a defined measurement. How well planes can stop on that runway. And because, airplane runway or airport runways, over time, they get lots of rubber deposits on them. As we land, you see all that tire smoke? We are depositing rubber on the runway. Well, that rubber, you think it'd make it better to stop. It makes it worse to stop, especially if it starts getting wet and slick. So, and it mostly has to do with when it's wet or when the term is contaminated. So if the runway is contaminated, meaning water's on the runway, slush, snow, ice, they will send out a truck on the runway. There's a special wheel attached to it, and they'll go down the runway and they stop, and they slam on the brakes and they see how much friction. It's a friction report. The wheel attached to the truck is reporting. So it could be 6 meaning dry, 1 meaning nil, and it is actually a calibrated number. So if they tell the value is a 3, we put that into our landing distance calculator, say the braking is a 3, and it tells us how much distance we need to stop. So hope I answered the question. Also, you said the 707 is your least favorite plane, but you always have it in my background. Well, it's in my background because I pay for a content service, and I don't use brands behind me, so I'm not going to use my airline brand behind me for many reasons. And so this is what I have. They don't have a 777. Were you working this week when the United Unimac waiting? Yeah, I don't work for that airline, but I heard about the United having a meltdown though. Darren, do you ever pretend to do a push and start in your vehicle like us wannabes do? No, I don't. Hey, Darren, are you a Houston Texas fan or a Dallas Cowboys fan? Neither one. I don't do sports. Seems if you're based there, you have a great pick of options for flights. You can, but it can get expensive. And it can get complicated, Mohammed. Say you pick up a trip that starts in LaGuardia, and the airline's supposed to have the trips start and end in the same airport, because that's where your car is, right? Well, if weather happens and reassignments happen, you might be in Kansas City, and they reassign you to fly Kansas City to Chicago, Chicago to JFK. And the airline has to get you from JFK back over to LaGuardia. And they pay for that service, but it can be a hassle going back. You finish a trip in JFK at midnight, your car's over in LaGuardia, it can take you 2 hours to get over there. Hey there, love your content as of late. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. When you were learning to fly, how many hours did you have at first solo? Mr. Morgan, I believe I had like a logbooks downstairs. I want to say it was in a 20-hour range. Mr. Blacksmith, long time no see. Can the first officer call a go around? Absolutely. Either pilot can call a go around, and it is required. So if the captain's landing and he or she is not stable, I can say go around, and they'll go around, and they don't question it right at the moment, because maybe I see something that they don't see. So if I have the need to say go around, there's the go around, and we'll talk about later on. My son has an instrument check ride. Next week, any advice? Mr. Teal, here's my number two pieces of advice for an instrument check ride. One, make sure he does not memorize the approach plates, because it's too easy to, many examiners have certain routes they do. They're going to take off, and they're going to do the ILS at this airport, and then the RNAV at this airport, and the localizer back into this airport, right? And so the CFI will take your son on the check ride routing, right? And your son will get so used to these approaches, they might memorize it. Well, what if the day of the check ride, the approach plate changes, or even more likely, maybe the ILS is out of service at that airport, so they have to go to a different airport, and he gets memorized. He memorized this other approach plate, and that kind of thing. So have him look at each approach plate as though he has never seen it before, and brief it like he's never seen it before. And the second piece of advice is on a non-precision approach. If MDA is 900 feet, have him go down to 910 feet and add a little, just a smidge of nose up trim to make him have to push it down to 900 feet if he wants to go to 900 feet. That way, if he gets nervous and he's under the hood and he's nervous and he relaxes, at worst he climbs, because you can climb on a approach and you're fine. On the opposite side, if he goes down to 900 feet and he's trimmed out perfectly and he gets a little nervous and he sinks down to 890, that's a bust. Do you guys have the captain's meal rule at my airline? No, that rule is, but every time I fly with anyone on a trip and we get a meal choice, most captains say pick what you want because they don't care. So. Your video 2 weeks ago on your Barcelona trip had quite a lot of sim content regarding startup, weight and balance. Sid, I really enjoyed it. Would love to see more in the future. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. That took a while to make. And I try to balance my videos between like just me talking and chilling and super detailed stuff. So I'll try to have a good balance between. I am going to try to put more sim content in the future. It takes a lot to set it up, so it's authentic, accurate, and interesting. And thank you very much for your support. What's the reason why London is so junior? Because we have 5 flights a day there. That is the most common destination at my airline from my base is London. And for over a year during bad COVID, the 777 only went to London at Dallas. Every month, every pilot in Dallas only went to London. So a lot of pilots are burned out of going to London. If you're ever jump seating on an international flight, are you stuck there for the entire flight? How do you sleep? It depends on the aircraft and the crew. So if I'm jump seating, like if I'm actually in the flight deck, like every seat in the back is full, and I'm going to London. If it's a 777-300, well, I can ask the crew, can I go up in the loft and sit in a business class seat in the loft area? Because up there they have 2 business class seats and 2 beds, right? And it depends if it's a 3-person crew or 4-person crew. If it's a 3-person crew to London, if the crew offers, I would never ask. If they offer, I can sleep in one of the beds the whole way across the pond, or sit in the seat for most of the flight as well. There's a restriction about flight level 250 or above, so I'll be in the flight deck jump seat for takeoff, and then I can go up in the loft for the en route portion. But if it's a 4-person crew, then I can't jump seat. So it depends on the aircraft and the routing. It's complicated. But I could be up there the whole flight, though, yes. I have had jump seaters up front the whole flight to London. As a soon-to-be commercial pilot, what advice would you give me? Ask lots of questions. Join professional organizations. One that you either want to support or identify with. I don't care if you have $200. Join professional organizations. Hopefully they have a local chapter. Get involved. Just go to a meeting, go to a meetup, right? And just hang out and support them. Darren, have you ever experienced a turbulence severe enough to cause hospitalization? Nope. And what I suspect, my new habit is lemon cello LaCroix. What I suspect is, well, I'm not talking about the Delta incident. I don't want to do that. many people who are injured during turbulence events are not wearing their seatbelts. They get to cruise, see the seatbelt sign go off, and they take the seatbelt off, and they sit in the seat anyway. Whenever I'm on the airplane, any airplane, up front or in back, my seatbelt is fastened unless I need to get up. So, but I've hit some monster turbulence before, and I've never had an injury because we make lots of PAs. Because we can, most of the time, we can either see it on our iPads, we are notified by ATC, or we can see the storm out front. And we say, hey, it's going to be bumpy. And sometimes we're too cautious, right? Sometimes we'll say, hey, we're going to have moderate turbulence in about 15 minutes, but it'll last about 20 minutes. And it might be light chop at best. But you know what? I'd rather be cautious than not say anything. And I don't ever want to injure another flight crew member or a passenger, ever. Mr. Harrison, good evening. Hello there, and happy Friday. In some of your flights, you mentioned that on takeoff, your plane didn't make the restriction. What does that mean, and what's the penalty if you don't make it? I need to explain it more. There's crossing restrictions leaving Dallas. Dallas is the most common one I deal with, right? And these are all 5,000. Well, the first one we ever have to meet for most of them are 5,000 feet. Some are 4, but some are 5. So on this SID, on the departure routing, like a map out of the airspace, they have these certain points where we have to be at a certain altitude. Well, the plane can predict based on the data we give it if it's going to make that restriction or not. And so if we can't make it, we have to tell ATC we can't make it. Now, if we didn't say anything and we tried and we didn't make it, well, that 5,000 foot restriction is probably there. It's probably a plane at 4,000 feet that's allowed to go under us. Maybe it's a corridor for some other arrival or departure or something, right? So if we don't say anything and we're climbing up and we don't make it, we could cause a separation issue with another aircraft. Why don't you fly? I do fly. I flew to Rome, not Venice this week. Captain, what North Carolina airports have you flown to? I have no idea. I know I've flown to Raleigh-Durham and Charlotte. I don't know where else though. What I love about your videos is that you really do show us everything that you're allowed to. Of course, it does feel like we're on the journey with you, and that's my whole point. I try to make the video as though you're coming along with me, versus me talking to you. Sometimes I am just talking to you, right? But I really try to tell you like my debriefs. So I just tell you everything in my head right after the moment if I can. I met with some captain at Oshkosh based in Dallas that's flown with you. His name is Brian. Awesome dude. Small world. He probably had no idea that I'd make YouTube videos. I never mentioned to anybody I fly with unless they ask. Hey Darren, when the next time you'll be in LAX and what's your favorite food and spot in LA? LAX, I have nothing planned, and I don't really have a favorite food. I'm not a foodie at all. I would say it's In-N-Out Burger probably, or that donut place, that big donut thing, Randy's Donuts. Captain meals when you're both not allowed to have the same meal. So I know some airlines have that rule. Oh, so no, we don't have that. We used to have a rule that we had to eat different meals, but that's been long taken out of the books. Well, I can't see what's in your hand.
No, nothing. Doesn't matter.
What?
Are you dancing?
No, why?
Well, I was hoping you could take us over to the Lake Club, but...
Oh. Yeah, I can meet them by 7. 7, okay?
Yeah, 7.
Just drop you off?
Yeah, I think you just...
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to walk. It's hot.
Okay, yeah. Give me, I'll be done in 18 minutes. 7:55.
Okay.
I have 18 minutes. But I don't have a favorite food, unfortunately. Oh, and as far as the same meal, we don't have that rule anymore. We used to have a rule about eating different meals. That's been out of the book since COVID. So I'll post online that if someone bids for Widebody FO to Nerdbody Captain, they realize how much it sucks and bids right back to Widebody FO. Why is this? Delays and reflows. Oh, no, because for Widebody, we do 1 flight a day. For the most part, on 777. Some 787s, they do turns. But Widebody flying is very different than Nerdbody flying. It's just very different. The nature of the beast. Are most professional organizations free? No. But it's a nominal charge, like $25 a year, $50 a year. Well worth it. How's 777 schedule from DFW changing for the current season? Another 787 coming back from Barcelona the other day while I was watching Flight Radar. I posted on my Facebook today about some new destinations, but nothing really changed for next month except we don't have Venice anymore. It is about seatbelts. I didn't get my first LOE on Tuesday. Any advice for LOE when you're new to the airlines? Flying Squirrel, look over the company pages in the hubs to know how to call catering, maintenance, window wash, know how the ramps work. Who do you call for a ramp in this airport versus this other airport? That kind of thing. I'm fairly sure it's limoncello. It is cello. You are right. Have you dealt with heavy turbulence? Yes. Hey, Darren, big fan. Would you someday like to become a trained captain check airman? I would. Hey, Darren, 2 questions. I have my PPL check ride this coming Tuesday. Do you have any advice? Yeah. Hold on. What aircraft did you do my initial training on? My initial training was on the CRJ as an airline pilot. Way back in the day, I started on a Cessna. For your private pilot check ride, go through the ACS. Go through the ACS and ask every single question you have. You have questions you haven't asked your CFI yet. Ask the question. Don't feel shy about it. On your check ride day, you're gonna make a mistake. You're gonna make a really dumb mistake. You have to brush it off and keep flying. As a pilot, you have to learn, hey, I made a mistake. I said something stupid. I'm gonna fix the issue and keep flying. Don't dwell on it. If you dwell on it, you'll get worse and worse, and your performance will just go down. What would you do if you had to get all your ratings again, go full time or pay as you go, and fly 2 times a week? I'm torn between. Oh, I would do what I did last time and had a full time job and train 3 times a week. Yeah, I hate debt as well. Hey there, hope all is well. When you're a leaf pilot, so sorry. When you're a leaf pilot, how you log your time? Is it all my time is SIC? Even when I'm in the captain seat, it's all SIC. Period. Always point blank. Only the captain is PIC, even when I'm in the captain seat. Period. Point blank. That's the rule. That's the rule. That's the rule. That's the rule. Otherwise, my airline automatically logs my time for me. If I'm on a 4-person crew, I get half the time. 3-person crew, I get 2/3 the time. Is there a destination you've never flown to but wish to? Anywhere in China or Hong Kong? My goal is to fly for American out of Charlotte. The only concern will be my family life. How should I handle that? And what is the rule restriction about dropping trips? Titus, that's a loaded question. Being in base helps a lot. The airline controls dropping trips. Period. If you have to go to a family event and you can't drop the trip, then you're going to work. You're going to miss the family event. How many hours do you have? About 13,000 hours. I stopped logging my time. How many hours did you have before my first job? Had 540 hours for my first airline job. What's your favorite plane? Is the Embraer 145. What planes are you have a type rating in? I'll say the models of plane. I'm not gonna say the actual ratings. I'll say the plane I've flown. I've flown the Embraer 145, the Embraer 175, the CRJ 700, the MD 80, the Airbus 320 series, and the Boeing 777. Remember you mentioned lacking confidence in previous live stream during training. I struggle with this. Any advice for overcoming this? Mr. Stolk, it sounds weird, but make a fake persona. Make a persona, and it, like right now, the way this is how I am in public, but I'm a very introverted. So I have to kind of push myself to talk loud and clear and be more assertive. It's not really who I normally am. But the way you see me now is how I am in public. My friends don't know me this way. I'm much more reserved and chill with my friends. If it makes sense or not. But make a fake persona. Make a fake persona. The way I'm talking right now is not how I talk to my family. You ever landed at Midway Airport? Never. We don't fly there. Oh boy. Hold on. The runway is very challenging. It's very short in Midway, but I've never landed there before. What do you need to be a check airman? You have to have, I think, at this airline, 500 hours as a captain, and then you have to apply and be approved by the check airman, by the chief pilot. I've always been curious, aside from aviation admin tasks, how do you while away time on flight deck on ultra longs, especially if you're paired with a not so talkative captain? Yeah, so I have flown. When I went, where did I go? I went to Paris, and my relief pilot did not want to talk to me at all. They were a nice person. They were a nice person. Zero chit chat. So for 3 hours, dead silence. I just looked outside, kept checking the weather, looking at various manuals, and that was it. Did you ever find my mic? I didn't. And my new mic I bought, I hate. I'm gonna buy another one. Do you ever commute, and how long was it? I did commute to Chicago for 3 months. I hate every moment of it. I don't ever want to commute again. Do you get paid for the deadhead? I do get paid for the deadhead. I get paid for the same amount as I get to fly. Is domestic flying down? Are you worried about flying demand going down? No. I don't control that. I fly airplanes. I don't sell tickets. I know what you're asking, but I don't. That doesn't enter my brain at all. How many hours a month would you say you've flown on 777 compared to the Airbus? I have no idea. I've flown 1,000 hours in the 777, so I fly more on the Airbus than 777. Also, how many hours would you say the average pilot flies a month? I have no idea. At Initial 46, I'm interested in changing careers. Becoming a commercial pilot is a dream achievable at my age if I pass my medical. Mr. Osby, it is very achievable. I have 11 minutes left. You're a little older, right? You know what life is. You know what it's like to pay bills. And I mean that sincerely, right? When we were 18, we thought we knew what we were doing. When we were 18, we thought we had it all up here. We didn't, right? Life happens. You know what it takes to achieve a goal. You can absolutely still do this. Let's say you start when you're 47. You make this plan right now when you're 46. At 47, you're like, let's do this. By the time you're 50, you should be qualified to be an airline pilot. You still have 15 years, right? 15 years left. That's plenty of time to be at a regional, be captain by the time you're 54, be out of there by the time you're 57. I mean you're at a main line, right? Leaving you 8 years in the main line, and you can either go to main line and be captain again, or go to main line and go to Widebody and live it out in the right seat, making great money. But you have plenty of time. And even after that, after 65, you can be, hey man, I still love this career. You can come back and be a sim instructor as well. What's the rule about who makes the PA announcements? There's no rule about it. Either pilot can make it. What are the 3 most difficult parts of flight training for yourself and you notice in others? I don't think this everyone's different, right? I hated lazy 8s and chandelles. Other people can nail them. I love short field landings. I can nail those any day of the week. I love power off 180s. Easy for me. So everyone is a little different. What's your favorite resource when you need a good overall refresher? FAQ, YouTube? Oh, I don't know. I haven't opened the FAQ in a long time. Seeing you have a guaranteed amount of hours monthly? I don't. What's the least you can have? We don't. This airline has no guarantee for a line pilot. For reserves, you get a reserve guarantee. A line pilot, they have windows to build you a schedule, but there's no guarantee. And if some pilots, if you have the right kind of trips and the schedule and the computer allows it, they can drop down to 0 hours. Thank you, Mr. Vieira. Everything to splurge big money on outside of your glasses and Sims. I know you said a lot of pilots you earned watches. I splurged money on. I bought a $4,000 trombone for my oldest kid. Except I only paid $2,000. She paid half of it though. For me, my splurging. I don't really splurge. I guess vacations for my family. And that is the last one I have, and I answered all the questions. Sweet. So this is a short live. It was 29 minutes so far. I got another 8 minutes, and I gotta go do some family stuff. My next video, I posted 2 videos yesterday, and my next one should be about Barcelona. The one after that should be about Rome, and then Venice, Italy. I'm going to try to put in some other videos besides just trip videos. I don't want to get locked into just doing trip videos. If you have a topic you want me to cover, drop them in the comments as well. I'm also thinking about doing another video with my wife and having her answer questions about being married to a pilot. I might put up a form on my Facebook to submit questions there as well. What are 3 most difficult parts of ground school? I have no idea. I haven't done a ground school in a long time, man. Yeah. So Here's the thing about being an airline pilot versus a civilian pilot, right? Like, I don't read the FAQ anymore because I'm not governed by that. I'm governed by Part 121, and I'm governed by my airline rules. So the FAA makes rules, right? But the airlines can take those rules and modify them and get them and be even more restrictive. So I'm governed by the FAA rules, but also by my airline rules. It's a quick example. At my old airline, the FAA said 12 hours between consuming alcohol and flying. My airline said 8 hours between. No, 8 hours. I think the FAA is 8 hours, and my airline said 12 hours. Yeah. Anyways, that's my point. Would you ever consider moving out of Texas? Never. Do you ever dwell on being responsible for the lives of people on my transport? Nope. Nope. When you first flew into London, what was the biggest differences you experienced with UK ATC compared to the US? The holds. Every time you go to London, you hold, and that's a big difference between the US and Europe. In the US, you fly in the US, it's common to be number 15 for takeoff, right? Not over there. Over there, they hold you on the gate until you can just taxi out and take off. It is very rare to be in London and be more than 4 or 5 deep for takeoff. They make sure that you don't leave that gate until you can taxi and almost nonstop go to the runway. Very different. In London, you always hold. It's very. I think I've only not held one time going to London. That's just how they do things. I don't like it at all. What credit card do you suggest for a non-rev traveler? A good hotel credit card. Marriott has the biggest hotel chain. They just do. But a good hotel credit card. What would you say the average age of a pilot at mainline coming in? No idea. Probably in the upper 30s. Last one. Had my first stage check in my instrument rating today. Passed with flying colors. Got my VFR check with the flight school as well. Proud moment for someone so senior to me. Say good job. Dude, Mr. Rickstein. I mean, yeah. Isn't it a good feeling? It's a great feeling when you achieve a goal that you thought would be difficult and maybe even impossible. Passing a check ride is a great feeling. Now, sometimes people don't pass the first time, but when you do pass, it's a great feeling. And you get to celebrate again when the piece of plastic comes in the mail as well. Darren, have you got to fly the One World Triple? I did. I flew that One World 777 to. It was either Paris or Venice. And here's the funny thing. I think it was Venice. Nope. I was FB. It was Paris. It was Paris because I didn't see the outside of the airplane until we got to Paris because I don't do the walk around as FO. The relief pilot does. Interesting thing about the London thing. Would you say that's a good thing Europe does or not? I don't like it. The holding. I don't like the holding is okay. I don't like the holding at the gate thing. The holding at the gate annoys me. But when you come in and you hold, it's fine. It's fine. Only London does it. Everywhere else can handle the traffic. London's just really busy. I don't like the holding at the gate thing that they do in Europe. I'd rather wait in a taxiway, get paid. Affected by the tsunami? I did not. And with that, have you ever been stranded somewhere while non-revving? I have not, thankfully, because we're very cautious of non-revving. My name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I'm a husband of a scientist. This is a random live. Might be live again tomorrow, maybe on Tuesday or Sunday. You never know. Subscribe, click the notification bell. I thank you for your support. Have a great day. And as always, thank you for stopping by. Beep.